because I want to brag about what a good job I did. I've done a great job. So true. But when Steve Burke came up from Comcast, and he's the boss, he's an incredible guy, and he said, Donald, we want to renew The Apprentice and all of that. I said, Steve, I really want to do something great. We're going to do this, and we're going to do it great. I've always heard that if you're a very successful person, you can't run for politics, and in particular, you can't run for president. And I see that. If you sneeze, they make a big deal out of it. No matter what you do, they make a big deal. Now, I have to tell you, with all of that being said, and I'm trying to figure out the system because I don't understand one thing. I think I get the worst publicity. I mean, I had this guy, Mitt Romney, who was such a disaster. He was... He may have been the worst presidential candidate in the history of United States politics. Amazing. And he came out and he's nasty. And actually, I backed him, but I don't really know him very well. I don't know. I'd probably, you know what, honestly, if I got to know him, I'd probably get along with him. But he came out with stuff. I feel that I get the worst publicity of any human being in the world, okay? I read such stuff. They make up stories. They write stuff. And it shows how smart the public is, because I'll tell you what. The poll just came out, CNN. I'm at 49. Second is 15. Can you nationwide poll? More importantly, you have a biggie, right? When is your biggie? When is it? When are you voting? Come on. Tomorrow. Raise your right hand, everybody. Do you swear that you're going to vote for Donald Trump tomorrow? Raise that hand. I love you. I love you. All right, you can't go back. No, I'm only kidding. If you want to go back, you can, but I don't think you will, because nobody's going to do the job that I'm doing. Nobody's going to do the job that I'm doing. But tomorrow's such a big day. And we haven't seen a poll of Mississippi, but the one that's a couple of weeks old has us like way up there. But let's assume we're tied. I don't want to say it. Assume we're tied, because you got to go out. You got to go out. I always used to tell politicians, pretend you're going to lose because you'll fight harder, even if they had a big lead. But in Mississippi, we've had some amazing polls and way up. And I just want you to just really do it tomorrow. It's so important. Promise you're going to go out, okay? Promise. And we just had a fantastic poll come out, the great state of Michigan. They came out, and we just had 4 polls, I think, come out, just as I was going on the stage. In fact, I came onto the stage, and I said, oh, this is nice, but now I walk up here. Look at the good time I'm having. You know why? I had 4 great polls from the great state of Michigan. That's a biggie tomorrow. You in Michigan, we have Hawaii, and we have the greatest potato group in the world, Idaho. I love Idaho. I love Idaho. I told them, I just tweeted, I said, I love your potatoes. I hope you're going to vote for me. I'll protect you. Nobody's going to take those potatoes away from Idaho. So we have some big ones tomorrow, but the numbers I just got from Michigan are tremendous, tremendous numbers. I mean, they're tremendous. Because Michigan knows, I've been talking about this for years, how other countries are ripping us off. I've had a couple of folks in the back, and one of them came up to me and said, Mr. Trump, I followed you for 10 years, and for 10 years you've been right. How China and how others. China's just the worst example. They're the worst abuser of all. And I'll tell you what, it's the single greatest theft, what they've done to us, in the history of the world. And I love China. I get along great. I sell them apartments. The biggest bank in the world is a tenant of mine in one of my buildings in Manhattan. I mean, I owned the Bank of America building in San Francisco, a big chunk of it, all because of the Chinese, which was a war. 1290 Avenue of the Americas in Manhattan, one of the biggest buildings in Manhattan, because of the Chinese. The Chinese are wonderful. And by the way, they're ripping us off horribly. I'm not angry at them. I'm not angry at them. I wish our people had the brains and had the sense. So I'm not angry at China. I'm not angry at Mexico. I don't, if you can get away with it, I say do it. I'm angry at our leaders for being grossly incompetent. They shouldn't be in the position. And when Vicente Fox, this week, when he threw out that horrible word, and he said, we will never pay for the you-know-what wall, and he gave that horrible, horrible wall, and the anger in his face. And he's not the president. He was the president. He was a former president. But it was a big interview, and it was all over the place. And he said, we will not pay for the wall. And I liked it in one way, because at least now they accept the wall's going to happen. See, it used to be, we will not let a wall be built. Right? No. If you look back a year ago, he and others were saying, we will not let a wall be built. Now it's, we will not pay for the wall. Okay, so we've come 50%. Now we'll do the other. But here's why. This lightweight comes off and he said to me, you can't get Mexico to pay for the wall. They're politicians. Number one, if you're a politician, you can't anyway, because the special interests and the donors and the lobbyists are going to hit them up, say, don't push Mexico. We have a big relationship. They give a lot of money to this country in the form of campaign contributions. They put a lot of monies into these horrible super PACs that are totally corrupt, by the way. And then they can take phony ads on me. You got to see these ads. These ads are so vicious and they're so phony. They're so false. And I tell people, I think I have $50 million worth of negative ads in Florida. 50 million. Somebody said 50 million. I was watching at Doral yesterday, and it's like I'm watching Adam, I'm watching Rory, and then it goes on, Donald Trump is the worst human being ever created. And I'm saying, whoa, whoa. I mean, I'm watching these ads. They are the worst, most dishonest ads I have ever seen. But, you know, how do you do that? So Vicente Fox, he goes, we're not going to do that. Let me tell you what his problem was. His anger, you saw it. Who saw that? Did anybody see that? His anger was so enormous. And it wasn't about the wall, and it wasn't about paying for the wall. It was about how dare the Americans, the stupid, stupid Americans with the stupid, stupid leaders, tell us anything about a wall or anything else. We're the boss here. That's what he was angry about. He couldn't believe that we had the nerve to tell him that he's going to pay for the wall. And it wasn't about paying for the wall. Do you understand me? It wasn't about paying for the wall. It was about the fact, how dare they? And you remember when I came down the escalator and I got up, I talked about Mexico and I talked about illegal immigration, right? And there was a storm. It was like a storm. 3-4 weeks later, in fact, I said, I don't know if I can go on like this. This is brutal. And Rush Limbaugh, who was great, he said, Trump was amazing. He's getting hit harder than I've ever seen anybody hit by the press. And he holds a news conference 2 weeks later and he doubles down. And it's true, because when you write on something, look, I don't need this, folks. I really don't. I had such an easy life. What did I do this? I had such an easy life, right? Wonderful family, wonderful company, wonderful everything. Now and I was going to say before, how can I be leading in Mississippi by so much when all I read about is negative stuff? It's amazing. It tells you, and it's all put out by the establishment that did such a great job over the last 8 years defeating Barack Hussein Obama, right? Such a great job. They did, the establishment, the Republican establishment did a really good job in telling us how to become president. But we're going to become president, and I'll tell you what's so important. And they don't know it yet, but they'll understand. Now they're saying Trump is doing really well, and Trump may make it, and this is horrible. And you know why it's horrible? Because I'm not taking their money. I don't want their money. They want to give money. They want to give money. I had a friend of mine, you know, as much as he could be a friend, he's a killer, but I had a very rich guy. I had a friend of mine come to my office and want to give me $10 million for the campaign. I told him, no, I can't do it. I'm not taking money. I just can't do it. Now, it's hard for me to say that because my whole life has been about taking, right? It's been about grab, take, greed, whatever you want to call it, take. Now it's about taking for the United States. We're going to take. It's true. But he said to me, Donald, I want to give you $10 million. And I'm going like, oh, how do I turn down? I don't want it. No, it's just I'm so unaccustomed. Usually I'd say, no, make it 15, okay? Right? But I'm not taking. I spend a lot of money, I don't take. So what happens is he says, no, I want to get. So after about 5 minutes, I convince him I really don't want his money. And we shake hands, he gets up. I said, by the way, what are you going to do now? He said, well, I'm going to pick another candidate. Now, I'll tell you why. No, I'll tell you, and I wasn't insulted. In fact, just the opposite. They're gamblers. They love the action. They love the action. They're gamblers. These guys are gamblers. I guess I am too. I pick people. You know, he would rather give $10 million and be in the game than have the affection of Donald Trump, be with Donald Trump, but Donald doesn't want your money and Donald's not going to do what you tell him to do if I win, right? It's true. It's true. Sort of a good story. But it's true. They're gamblers. And when I look at him, I mean, he said, you're going to be the best. There's nobody like you, blah, blah, blah. You have to take it. I have another friend of mine, great guy, very, very wealthy guy, very well known to the press, and probably most of you, actually. And every time I see him, he says, Donald, when can I help? When can I help? I say, his first name's Howard. I say, Howard, I love you. Now he knows who it is. I said, Howard, I love you. You're the greatest. Got a lovely wife, great wife. I said, Howard, I love you, but I can't take your money. I'm not going to take it. I don't need it. I don't want it. I want to self-fund. I want to do it. I want to work for the people. That's it. And once I start taking their money, it's different. He said, he goes like this. No, you don't understand. I really want to give you the money. He didn't know. And every time I see him like once a month at the Mar-a-Lago Club. Great club. Best club in the world, I think. But I see him, and he goes, every time I see him, the same thing. Donald, can I give you money? He doesn't understand. They don't even understand it. And let me tell you, when guys give money to these politicians, they own those politicians. Just remember, they own them. And when they want help with military purchases, with electrical, with energy, with anything, pharmaceuticals, these guys are going to do whatever they tell them because they're going to be running again for office and they're going to want them, and it becomes like the evil chain. So I just tell you, folks, I'm self-funding. I don't think that I get credit for it. I don't think, in other words, when you go to this group, I love you. But I love the guys from the football field even more, 7,000. I love you even more than these. I love them even more. I love them. Can you imagine 7,000 people standing on a field? On a field. I love them. I hate to say this, folks, but those are my people, right? Right? No, you're my people. We're all together. We have amazing people in this country. This country's amazing. We have amazing people. I get by far the biggest crowds, not even a contest. And I have to say, Bernie is going down in flames, by the way. But, no, he's going. In all fairness, hard to envision a communist being elected president, right? Not socialist, communist. A little bit hard, a little bit hard. So whether he's a socialist or a communist, I think he's sort of in between. We can't call him pure communist, but whether he's, but he's going down in flames, right? But I will admit, we beat him by a lot in terms of the crowds. We had one yesterday, or the other day in Orlando, Florida, 25,000 people. We had to send home 15,000 people. Can you believe it? 15,000. And I said, I'm going back, but I made everybody in the room promise that they won't come back again because I have to take care of the others. It'll be the same people that pour into the room. But we're going to go back. But we've had amazing crowds. And Bernie does have the second, I have to say. But it's been such an honor getting to know the people of this country because we have a great country. We have great people. And these people want to see America be great again. That's what they want. It's what they want. And I say this, and I say it very strongly, someday, and I want that to happen soon, I want to see Apple, and I want to see other companies making their iPhones and other products in the United States, not in China. I want to see that, and it's going to happen. And they're going to make them in Mississippi. What's better than Mississippi? You have the force. You'll see. You'll see. I may have to do a little taxation penalty. I may have to do a little stuff, to which the conservatives will say, he is not a true conservative. Remember Jeb? Donald Trump is not a conservative. In the meantime, he spent $158 million. Could have been billion the way he spent. But he spent a lot of money. But people would say, Donald Trump is not a conservative. No. Call me whatever you want. I am a very conservative. I'm conservative on trade. I'm conservative in the military. I'm conservative with our vets. Our vets are going to be taken care of. I'm conservative with education. I mean, I'm a real conservative, but I'm also a smart and common sense conservative, and we're going to be taken care of. And you know what? If it means that Apple is going to have to do something and we're going to have to create a little incentive for them to stay here, we're going to do that. We're going to do that. But we cannot continue to have China and these other countries take our people away, take our jobs away, and take our money. We can't do it. Can't do it. Okay? So in a sense, I say, call me whatever you want. I don't care. But I can tell you this, you're going to be happy. The end result is you are going to be happy. So this all began on June 16th, coming down the escalator with Melania. And I was coming down. I said, come on. Because it takes guts to run for president, I want to tell you. It takes guts. It's not easy. And I wasn't sure how I'd do. Because, you know, I was getting numbers 4 years ago. I was actually leading, but I didn't run. I wasn't running. But they put my name and I was leading.